Hello, this will be a quick tour of the updated CIViC interface. It's designed for those who have done some curation in the past or used the CIViC interface in the past and are familiar with the data model. So here you see the new interface, and clicking on this logo up here will always bring you to this main page here. We can use the quick search to put in our favorite gene. Say we put in EGFR. We can click it, and that will take us to the EGFR gene page with the summary, the My Gene info information that's pulled in. And here's a list of variants associated with EGFR. I want to load them up here. And so now we see the full list. We can search for the variant of interest. Say we want the classical L858R. We can put in L858, and here's L858R. We can click that and come to the variant page. And here you see the variant description, various information that's pulled in from other resources such as the allele registry, which is clickable here. That'll bring you to the allele registry page for this variant, and other things such as the ClinVar IDs. Here's the coordinate information, which will be familiar to people. Here you see the reference build 37, ensemble version 75, chromosome 7. This is the variant itself, which it starts at this position on chromosome 7, stops there. Its reference is T, the variant is G, and this is all coming up of the transcript, this ensemble transcript. And here's some information pulled in from myvariant.info and ClinVar and other resources. This is the variant type, which is a missense variant. This are all curated fields. This is from the sequence ontology. And then down here, we have the evidence items associated with the variant. Note here, so that accepted evidence items have the sort of gray background, and then the orange background is for the submitted. And note how as you scroll over them, you get to see it's kind of a full look at the evidence item. So if we go ahead and click on one of these evidence items, here you get to the evidence item itself with its description, its accepted status, information on its submission and acceptance. Here, this is a predictive type of evidence item. Supports the clinical significance of sensitivity. It's a level B evidence item, 2-star rating for the drug erlotinib and the disease lung cancer. Here's the source. This is going to be clickable. Why don't we click that real quick? This takes us to the source page, which again would be familiar to CIViC users. Here you see various evidence pulled from this source. And so we can go back, and then we can exit out of here again, back to the variant page. L858R, a variant page with its different evidence items. We can click back once more to get to the EGFR page with all of its variants. And now there's a new type of quick search functionality which allows you to quickly find evidence items. Evidence items, you'll recall, are called EID for short. And so you can put in, say, EID, say 1245. You can click it, EID 1245, and it brings us to EID 1245. In this case, this is an evidence item for the gene ALK, and the variant here is the EML4 ALK fusion at the exon 20 of EML4 and the exon 20 of ALK. So that brings us a quick way to get to the evidence item you were looking for. And note one other thing here. You can see at the bottom of this evidence item links to assertions that are associated with the evidence item. So in this case, this evidence item 1245 has this assertion associated to it. At this point, we can take a look at this sidebar here and notice that we have the multiple different types of entities in CIViC that are very important. And note how each one has now a symbol associated with it. You see that this is a symbol for the evidence item. Note how that symbol exists here as well. This is the symbol for the assertion. There's a set of circles. Note how that exists here. And genes get this symbol, this half-open circle, Horizontal, note that's here. Variants get this sort of a symbol. So and so on. So you can you get used to these types of little symbols for navigation purposes. Let's click this evidence here. This brings us to a page where we can browse evidence. What we have here is a long list of evidence items. We can continue loading it and loading more. And if you're looking for a particular evidence item, you can just type the number in up here, 146. Here's evidence item 146. Close that back out. For any given evidence item, you see whether it's accepted or submitted. And of course, you can scroll over and see the evidence item summary in this card. You see the evidence item, its associated gene, the variant that the evidence item is for, the disease, drugs, description. Here you see some evidence level, evidence type. This is a diagnostic evidence item, supports positive diagnosis. That's the general idea for this evidence item list. So next, let's go ahead and click on assertions and browse those briefly. So we see, again, accepted assertions, submitted assertions. We also get a quick overview by scrolling over them. We can click on one of the assertions real quick. We see the usual fields in the assertion, including the summary, description. So we see the status of the assertion, which is accepted here, information on when it was submitted and accepted. We see the variant origin, which is somatic. Here's the link to the allele registry ID. This is non-small cell lung carcinoma is the disease, and this is for the drug afatinib. The assertion type is predictive. The direction is supports, and the clinical significance is sensitivity response. The ASCO-CAP is Tier 1 Level A. And below here is the collection of evidence items that support the assertion. We can mouse over them and see the contents of the evidence items. So note we've done all this without yet signing in. I'll sign in real quick. Just press here. I'll use GitHub. And we're signed in. I'm going to quickly walk through adding a few things here. Let's add a source suggestion really quickly. Recall that to do a source suggestion, the only things that are required is a source, which is a PubMed ID or an ASCO abstract, and a comment explaining why we're adding it. But optionally, we can add also gene, disease. So let's do that real quick. We'll just make some stuff up. We can use the gene, say EGFR. For the variant, we'll specify a variant that exists for EGFR, such as L858R. We'll go ahead and add a disease. We can just choose the generic term cancer, which comes up right here with its DOID. Now, for the PubMed source, we'll choose PubMed. We'll go ahead and just make up a number here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can click that. This source is going to be added to the database by clicking Add Source. And now note we've added it. And here you would explain why you've chosen to suggest this publication and what it says about the variant. We could submit the source for suggestion. Now finally, let's add an evidence item. As usual, we'll specify a gene. Maybe we'll try TP53. Next, we'll specify a variant, and we'll go ahead and add a variant that's not yet in the database by making something up. It tells you that no existing CIViC variant H3335 found. Should we create a new one? We'll click that, and it's been made. Here we'll write our evidence statement as usual. Next, we'll specify a source. We'll choose a PubMed, make up a number. It's asking us to fetch this citation from PubMed. This citation was found here, and clicking here will add it to the database, and we'll click again to add this source, and it's been added. Next, we'll add our variant origin. We'll say that this is a somatic variant. Let's say it's prognostic. Next, let's add a clinical significance. We'll say it's a prognostic for poor outcome where the evidence supports poor outcome. For disease, we'll choose something. Let's just choose cancer again. We'll go ahead and select an evidence level. Let's say that this is some preclinical evidence that we're describing. We won't be adding any phenotypes. We need to give an evidence rating. We'll just go ahead and say it was a 2-star rating. We have the option to leave a comment. We won't do that. Again, this was just a completely made up evidence item just to show how we're filling out the fields in the new interface. So let's go ahead and submit this evidence item, and the evidence item has been submitted. Hopefully this brief walkthrough gets you familiarized with the new interface. You'll see there's a lot of overlap with the old interface and the old data model and the old methods of curation, just with some new additions here along the side, which should come in handy.